Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell. You'll get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And when I'm not asking Bruce, hey, how big was Batista's? Well, you know. One of the things I like to do is help people save money. And if you're watching this video right now and you're in a 30-year loan, man, you're overpaying your single biggest bill and you may not even realize it. I want you to do a little experiment for me. Take your calculator out, multiply your monthly house payment by 360 payments. That's how many payments there are in a 30-year loan. That big scary number, that's your total of payments. You're looking at that number? You know you can do better. Keep more of your own money right now and go to savewithconrad.com. Or maybe you've got credit card debt. Man, it's not a matter of if I can save you money with that. Your average interest rate on a credit card is more than 20%. And by the way, all the interest you pay on those credit cards, it's not tax deductible. Whereas the mortgage interest, well, that is tax deductible. So if you owe this debt, it's up to you how to pay it back. Doesn't it make sense to get the cheapest rate possible and the greatest tax deduction possible? Find out how much money you can save right now for free at savewithconrad.com. You don't need perfect credit. Even scores in the 500s can be approved, and it's no cost out of pocket. But maybe best of all, we're licensed in more than 40 states. We can help more families than ever before. But how much can we save you? Find out right now for free with a quick quote from savewithconrad.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Welcome to WHW Monday. Tony Schiavone and Conrad Thompson.
Jim Crockett First Arcade, 605 NWA. TV title, Cajun Omni, the Bunkhouse Stampede. Flair and Horseman, Garvin, Bogey, Magnum, Dusty, Express Tag Team. Turner, Bodden, Mid-South Joint World Championship Wrestling.
Talking about the great years of World Championship Wrestling, the NWA, and Jim Crockett Promotions.
Tony and Friends North, they win. Look, Schiavone's back again. World title split off, center stage, Bischoff. Disney, Hogan, and Nitro. New World Order and The Crow. Thunder, Russo, Arquette Champ, Vinnie Mac, simulcast. Tony's back with Conrad, not your classy podcast. Watch along, try not to laugh. Lowest rules, cat back. This wasn't the initial plan. Tom Zigg's a good-looking man. Klondike Bill, make a tip. Tommy, you come over here.
What happened when? WHW Monday. And now, let's go to the ring. And here's your co-host. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson, and you're listening to What Happened When? With the voice of your childhood and now AEW Dynamite, Tony Schiavone. Tony, what's going on, man? How are you?
Conrad, it's a wonderful day to be talking to you, as always. Hello, everybody. It's good to be with you, and thank you for all your nice support. And from what we've been doing over the past, we've been doing our podcast since 2017.
Yeah, it's over 3 years now, buddy. We're nearly at the 3.5-year mark. Can you believe it?
It's amazing. It's just the old cliche is true. Time flies when you're having fun. And we certainly have had some fun, and we hope everyone else has. I've had some pretty good fun over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, let's talk about that, man. You got to pick up your old pal, Jim Ross, at the Atlanta airport. We hooked up a couple of dashboard cams and started what we're calling On the Road Again. And, the idea was, hey, business is done at the bar, but you learn to hone your craft in the car. And that's what we've always heard, is that you sort of sit under the learning tree, so to speak, riding up and down the roads, making towns. And I thought, hey, this will be fun. Let's capture the voices of our childhood and make it like Grumpy Old Men 2020, the wrestling version. And people seem to be really digging it over at adfreeshows.com and patreon.com/WHW Monday. And then you get down there and, well, it's a whole new ball game. It's Daly's place. There's no fans. People have to be tested before they come in. And it's the new way of life. But somewhere along the way, you guys do the first AEW pay-per-view with no crowd. And Tony, you've been a part of a lot of the major AEW shows. Of course, you were there at the very first one as a fan in the front row of Double or Nothing back in Las Vegas. And now this one was, of course, a lot different. There's no fans. It's in Jacksonville. It was originally supposed to be in Las Vegas, a near sellout crowd, but The pandemic had other plans. But I got to tell you, coming off of all these weeks of taped TV, I went in with pretty low expectations, and I was really surprised at how great the show was and how well it came off as a fan watching from home. You were there. What did you think?
Well, I thought that, first of all, I thought the Stadium Stampede match was much more entertaining and incredible than I thought it would be. Because I knew they had taped it the night before, and I was there. And it was, as many people have said, a cinematic wrestling match.
Sure.
But it took so long to do it, Conrad, and I'm sure it's been out there before, but for the fans who are listening to us and don't realize it, they were planning to start the taping at 9 o'clock, as we always do when we're taping TV. Everybody's ready at 9 o'clock, but we don't get taping at 9 o'clock. So about 9:45, they started taping. And they had so many things planned, so many different parts of the stadium. By 1 a.m., I was sitting at the gorilla position with Tony Khan. And by 1 a.m., I tapped out. I said, I've had enough. I go back to the hotel room, and by like 3 a.m., I wake up and I hear thunder, and I think, I hope they're done. And apparently they weren't. The rains came. They had to hold off, and then they finally finished up at like, I think they finished up like at 5:30 or 6.
So it was a very, very long evening to crank out that 45 minutes worth of content, which is, and listen, your old pal Jim Cornette was very, very critical of this. And of course, anytime he has a hot take about AEW, it goes viral. And he was, I'm disappointed in Tony and I'm disappointed in JR. And, here's my thing. If you didn't like the Stampede, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun for what it was, but I'm able to sort of, give everyone a pass. I've talked about this before, but I don't think a lot of these like empty arena style matches, the stuff without fans, I don't think that's going to wind up on many highlight reels just because it's so different. We're trying to do what we can just to get through the pandemic and have some sort of escape from reality with pro wrestling right now. And
right.
I think you have to give everybody a pass for trying to make the most out of the current circumstance. I understand how you could be critical of that match or the Boneyard match or the Money in the Bank match. I mean, there's been a lot of these now. There's been 4 or 5, and I understand how you could be critical of any or all of that. I really do. But at the same time, I think we sort of have to give a pass to everybody because, this is, and I hate the word, but it's almost become the word in wrestling, especially within WWE. This is an unprecedented time. It's not like there's a rule book where, oh, well, in case of a pandemic, here's what you do. So we're doing our best to come up with stuff that we can do that's not going to feel boring or monotonous. And no one could watch that Stampede match and say, well, this is boring and monotonous. So I thought it accomplished everything it was supposed to.
I had thought after I left and then I got back to the arena the next day for us to do the live show, and I was talking to everybody, I had thought that, boy, this is really going to turn out to be a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
That's just me. And then when I saw the edited version, and we called it live. We did not have a chance to sit down and watch it before it aired. So we were watching it as the fans were watching it. And then when I saw it, I'm thinking, you know what? That was entertaining as fuck.
Right.
So I enjoy it. And now listen, I know Jim has been critical of a lot of things that we do. That's fine. It will never change my impression of Jim Cornette because we've been friends and I like him.
Man, I gotta tell you, I love that you're saying that because we talk about the old stuff here on our show, and really you didn't watch any wrestling until January of 2017. And I'll never forget, you sent me a text and you said, you motherfucker, I haven't watched this in nearly 20 years. And the first thing I have to see is someone named Big Cass.
Yes. Why is he on my TV?
Yes. But the point is you're back in wrestling now and you missed so much. So what you have, the opinion you formed of Jim Cornette was set in stone 30 years ago. So, or more so. I don't know. I just feel like it's refreshing to hear you say, I don't think what I think of him no matter what. That has nothing to do with, some of his content he creates now, because you know him in real life. And I think that's just normal and healthy and well adjusted.
And if we ever see each other again, which who knows, you never say never in wrestling, if I found out, we ever see each other again, he will probably cut a promo on me.
Oh no. Well,
but it would all be, he'll be serious, but it'll be a lot of fun too.
Well, he'll be serious, but you'll start laughing, and then he'll start laughing, and it'll be 1985 again. Right.
But I got to thinking about this, and I heard JR told me that he was critical of us, and you've told me he was critical of us. The only response I have to that is, what do you think we were going to do? Do you think we were going to sit up there for 30 minutes and shit on what we were watching?
Well, no, see, that's the thing that you guys got a little bit of criticism from fans online, and I would get tagged in that about how, JR doesn't care. JR, people are just mean online. Oh, JR's a drunk. Oh, JR's phoning it in. Oh, there's no passion in him. And I'm like, hey, fuck off, first of all. Right. But secondly, especially in a match like this, even if, now I'm not saying you did or didn't, but I'm saying even if you broadcasted or you're on the mic and there's something shitty happening on your monitor, hello, we all lived through WCW 2000. You have to do your job.
Yes.
Your job, you're being
paid.
Is
to put it over.
Yes. My job is to put it over and to tell the story. And my God, we saw you do that better than most in 2000. And man, if you can call that shit from WCW 2000, buddy, you can call anything.
Well, we've seen some stuff from WCW 2000, and I agree with that now, after I've seen it many, many years. I respect Jim Cornette's opinion. I always have. And if he's critical of something, I'm going to take it to heart. Most of those dickheads on Twitter, go fuck yourself. You've never had a real job in your life.
Oh God, listen to you. Well, listen, here's the deal.
That's hashtag go fuck yourself. You never had a real job in your life. One sentence.
Let's do mention, we're coming off of one of our most requested episodes. We're shifting gears out of AEW for a minute, folks. I know we get a little bit of heat online saying, all y'all do is shill for AEW. No, we don't. I talk with my guys about what they're doing in their real life. Like, what are you talking about? Come on. But
you and Bruce don't talk AEW, do you?
No.
Yeah, there you go.
But how about this? We don't really talk modern WWE either. And we're not really talking modern AEW now. We're just, hey, what'd you do last week, Tony? What the fuck are you supposed to say? Well, not much. You, you hung out with Mike Tyson for 3 days and you were sequestered down there shooting all kinds of crazy, unique wrestling matches. This is a wrestling podcast. We should mention it. If you don't like it, just fast forward a few more minutes. But I do want to mention, we're coming on the heels of one of our most requested topics, your sole appearance in TNA. I got a lot of really good feedback from this show. What were you hearing this past week about your debut, your sole appearance rather, with TNA?
I got a lot of real good feedback about it too, because it was really a turning point in my career on many levels. And, you and I always talk some silly shit on this podcast. Well, you talk a lot of silly shit. I try to keep it between the lines.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. So we do talk a lot of silly shit on this, but we were kind of getting serious about my career and what I was thinking and why I did what I did and why I didn't move on. And it was, to me, watching it back was like, wow, reliving one of the big moments. And that drive back in the minivan that night was one of the big moments of my life, about one of the forks in the road, so to speak.
Well, you just decided this is it. I'm not doing this anymore.
Right. And it was actually decided that night, because when I first got there, I didn't know, what this all could be about. But then again, I realized, fuck it, I'm done. That should be a shirt. Fuck it, I'm done.
Well, listen, we did get a lot of really good feedback from it. If you haven't already, go check the archives. It's a pretty, cause listen, we have, you have become, by the way, the most beloved figure in wrestling. I don't know that you're aware of that.
I'm not aware of that. Not even.
Well, you are. You surpassed everyone. There is a love affair with wrestling fans and yourself now. People are just so glad that you're back, and you've become this affable character on AEW where you can sort of be self-deprecating and you don't take things too seriously. But if anybody else messes with you, it really riles the fans up. I mean, you have just this fun connection, and maybe that wouldn't have existed had you not been away from the business for so long and then come back through the podcast. But it's always fun to really think about what if. And sometimes, you know, Bruce and I, whether we're recording or not, we'll sort of go down that what if rabbit hole just for fun. And to think, what if you just sort of tiptoed back into wrestling in January of 2003 with Impact, and you liked it and you became an on-screen character, but then eventually you're sitting at the desk next to Mike Tenay and you become the voice of Impact Wrestling for all of those years. What if? You know, that's just fun to think about. And especially when you realize that, you know, nobody really knew that this was on the horizon back then. But when you're there in January of 2003, this is a relatively new startup promotion that's only been around for 7 months and is doing weekly Wednesday pay-per-views for $10 at the Nashville Fairgrounds. This is going to be an outfit that is going to relocate to Orlando the next year and get a show like national television on Fox Sports now. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. It's Impact Plus. This is a fun show for us. It's the first time that TNA has national television, and you've never seen it. I mean, so this is going to be really the first major company to have a shot to compete with Vince post WCW. And when they were just doing Wednesday pay-per-views, it was easy for a lot of folks to sort of dismiss them. But tomorrow will be the 16-year anniversary. Gosh, I can't believe that's real, of when TNA debuted on Fox Sports. It went down on June 4th, 2004. And this is going to be a fun watch along. If you'd like to do that with us today, and we hope you do, you need to sign up for the Impact Plus app. And I got accused over the past week or so, Tony, of shilling for the Impact Plus app, and that I am clearly on the payroll because I've decided to use some of that wrestling content. I don't understand. Like, nobody says that when we cover stuff on the WWE network. Why do they say that whenever we cover something on Impact?
I don't have an answer. The only answer I really have for that is hashtag go fuck yourself, get a real job.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I hope you do get a real job, because this is a great bargain. It's under $10 a month. I don't know exactly how much it is. It might be $6. It might be $7.
You also get a 30-day free trial. All right.
Oh, there you go. Go sign up for the free trial. I'm sure that's
Sure.
what
And
Tony
then 30
did.
days later, fuck it. All right.
Yeah. So watch a lot of this shit with us. And if you don't like it, fucking cancel. But I will say there's a lot of bang for the buck here, at least for my money.
And if there's like let's say there's a group of 4 of you, okay, or 3 of you that are critical of what we're doing, and you don't want to really pay for Impact, I suggest that you go in together, right? Get a 30-day trial, watch it together, and then suck each other's dick after it's over.
Okay. Now, do you remember at the top of the show where you said that I say a lot of silly shit on the show, but you try to keep it clean?
Yeah. Boy, that didn't last long, did it?
I meant to tell you this. Have I told you that I've got like a banker hookup here in town now?
Do you really?
Yeah. I've got a good friend of mine who, well, he's become a good friend to me, but he works at the bank right beside my office. So years ago, I signed up for a checking account over there, and then in time we've expanded it. So probably shouldn't say the name of the bank, but it's the same bank that does all of our what happened when banking.
Oh, okay.
And,
good bank. There's plenty of,
there you go.
there are plenty of branches here.
Well, he is a huge wrestling fan, and that just randomly came out one day through the course of my StarCast business when I had to send a wire to a certain dead man. And he's like, "Hey, what is this?" And he didn't know who I was or whatever. And so then it becomes apparent, oh my gosh, you're the guy who does the podcast. We hit it off. Oh, I love the old Jim Crockett stuff, blah, blah, blah. So, somehow it comes out, hey, one of those times I'm in there, is it true that you own the big gold belt? I said, yeah. Would it be possible for me to see that sometime? Sure. So now during quarantine, I had to run by the bank. You know, the banks are closed. You've got to have an appointment to go in. But I had a check card get hacked. So I said, hey man, can I come by and get a new check card? Yeah, no problem. Would it be possible to bring the big gold belt with you? And I'm thinking, well, that's a bit of a weird ask, but sure, here we go. So I bring the belt in. He's blown away, takes a bunch of pictures, blah, blah, blah. Fast forward, I have another need to come by a month later. And he says, hey, would it be possible for a friend of mine to stop by and take a look at the belt? And I'm like, boy, this has become full blown show and tell. Sure. No problem. So, the friend comes in and he's nervous and shaking as he's playing with the belt. And then he looks to his banker buddy and says, hey, will you take my picture? Norm Morquist. Sure. And then the guy takes his goddamn shirt off in the bank and looks at his banker buddy and says, is it okay if I cut a promo? I've got it all mapped out. They're cutting shirtless promos with the big gold belt in a fucking bank.
Well, should this really surprise you?
I have a picture that I'm not going to post because I don't want this guy to get in trouble. But when this is happening, I'm like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And I took a picture to document that this is my real life. And I just sent it to you. And I want you to just describe what you see on your phone, because this is out of a movie, Tony. This beyond words.
Okay.
But here's the funny part about this. The shirtless guy in the photo, when he's finished, puts his shirt back on and uses some hand sanitizer, which is probably good anytime you hold the big gold belt, pandemic or not. And then he says, yeah, I used to listen to your Schiavone podcast. And I said, used to? Cause that's a weird compliment to give somebody, right? Like, why would you feel the need to say used to? So I said, used to? With a question mark at the end. Yeah. I went to bed and I was listening to it as I slept. And then I woke up and man, you and him was talking about somebody and a glass coffee table and other people underneath. And I just said, what am I doing with my life?
Okay. There's this, looks like kind of distinguished banker.
Yep. That's our friend.
That's right. In a blue blazer, taking a photograph. And this guy who looks like a biker version of Jerry Lynn, with a tattoo on his breast saying, I don't know what it says. And his chest stuck out in jeans with the gold belt on. And he's got a very, very serious, like confident, like face on.
Yeah. This is
Jeez.
Huntsville, Alabama on a goddamn Friday inside the bank.
This should not surprise you.
It does.
No, let me tell you, it should not. For those of us who are looking on the outside, okay? When I first met you, I realized that there's Jay-Z Flair.
Yeah.
There's Pondwater Dave.
Yeah.
There's Hancock. There's lazy ass Matt Coon.
I got a cast of characters as friends. I get where you're going with this.
Yeah. And it grows. So basically
it grows. What, am I not supposed to get more is there like a number? Like, oh, that's too many friends. Oh, I got
no, you're the fucking Pied Piper of knuckleheads. I mean, it's like, remember the day down to your basement that I almost choked to death on a piece of ice?
And Matt Coon did nothing. Yes. I remember that.
Oh, Matt Coon did nothing but turn his ass up and roll over on the couch. And I said to you, when I finally came to, I almost died in the basement of Huntsville, Alabama with a bunch of marks. Yeah. Wouldn't that have been funny?
Yes.
But as I'm choking, I'm looking around, I'm thinking, is this collection of nutbags the last people on earth I'm going to see? I'm really thinking about that. But other than that, they're great guys. And now you throw in Dave Silva, and you throw in a goddamn trademark lawyer from up in Toledo, Ohio. I mean, they come from everywhere in the country.
Yeah.
It's just like, man.
So you think I should just be ready to, by the way, when I posted that picture to the group chat, they're like, Dawkins was like, tell me you just walk around Huntsville, Alabama with that goddamn belt slung over your shoulder. I'm like, fuck you. No, I don't. However, this banker who hooks me up and helps me get in for appointments and stuff without going through the regular rigmarole. Yeah. If he's like, hey, can I see yes, you can, I'll bring it with, no problem.
Well, I was just thinking when he asked you to bring it in, if maybe that you put it over your shoulder, around your waist, and walked in with it on.
No, here's what I do. I've got a duffel, and I throw it in the duffel. And I'm sure normally when you walk into a bank with a duffel bag, that would look a little suspicious, but he knows me. So he lets me in. He knows it's not a scene from Heat. I've got a goddamn wrestling belt in it, which, by the way, even though I am a wrestling fan, I just can't get behind people who walk around in public with wrestling. Like, Jay-Z Flair used to go to the bar with wrestling belts slung over his shoulder.
It doesn't surprise me. We went to the show at Madison Square Garden in his Bojangles.
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying. He used to do this to try to get attention from girls. And in my head, buddy, they ain't into this. What are you doing? And he's like, no, man, they love it. And so eventually, not only did he take his replica belts in there, then he started taking real belts in there. And then he had a custom real belt made that said Mad Head Game. Do you even know what that means?
No.
Well, the girls did. And maybe that one worked. I don't know. It's just amazing.
Does it mean he got a head from Mad Girls and it was a game? Mad
is a description from hip hop, maybe 25 years ago. Like, let me say this. Before Dooley died, you had mad dog hair.
Oh, okay.
JR has mad money.
Okay. All right. But by the way, I checked in with, on ad-free shows, they all get together and they do this Zoom thing.
Yeah.
Right?
You got one coming up, right?
I think I do.
Yeah.
Not sure. So yeah, right. But I think they all get together on a weekly basis. So like Silva and,
yeah. You're talking about the think tank concept.
The think tank. Yes. The think tank. All right. So they got the think tank and Silva said, would you crash the party for us? And I said, sure. So they're talking and I crashed the party. It's, Tony Schiavone's here. And I went, hi, is this Whitney Wright's porn channel? And they all laugh and I hang up. I call back again and I say, hey, I was calling Britt Baker, and they all laugh. And I say that because when I click in, okay, Jay-Z Flair doesn't even respond to me. He looks at me like he's never seen me before in his life. I'm thinking, you fucker. And then as I'm sitting there listening, I'm just hearing on Water Day talk about he likes this, he likes that. And I say, man, I'll click off here and just go kill myself now.
Yeah, listen, that's, I participated in one of those. And then as a great friend of the show, Conan or K-Dog would say, that's enough. And that is enough of us filibustering here at the top. If you haven't already, go sign up for the goddamn Impact Plus, easy for me to say, Impact Plus app, or do what we did. Go to impactplus.tv and sign up. As Tony said, you do get a free trial. And let me just mention, and we've talked about this before. I really don't know why there's so much LOL TNA. Because at this point, how about this fact, Tony? I can't believe this is real. TNA has outlasted WCW.
Right.
And there's a lot of great stuff in here. I mean, Kurt Angle, Sting, Hulk Hogan, Jeff Hardy. I mean, look at all the unbelievable in-ring talent too. AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, Low-Key,
Flair.
Flair was there, just on and on. So if you want sort of old school superstars, got it. If you want to know what the next big hot shit's going to be, it's here too. I mean, Kazarian, Daniels, there's so many great guys that are now a part of AEW that are here, but also former world champs who have gone on to just absolutely blow it up, like AJ Styles, and of course Samoa Joe and Homicide. And there's just a lot of really great stuff if you're a wrestling fan. So let's not sleep on something that's, I don't know, $6, $7, $8, $9, whatever it is. It's less than WWE Network. It's an incredible value, and it is a ton of archival footage. And we're going to watch one of the most important shows that they ever had, their debut on television. It's June 4th, 2004. This is on Fox Sports Net. If you scroll down, you'll see it. And we'll even post a link over on adfreeshows.com. Hopefully you guys check it out, because we're going to try to cover some of this stuff in the coming weeks. And the reason we're doing that, I should mention, is they were really trying some sort of out there stuff. So in July, we've got 2 shows from 2002 that you don't want to miss. It is going to be 2 of the most laugh out loud moments in the history of what happened when, because I kind of forgot that it happened. And so I started doing some research and I'm like, oh my God. So either way, stay tuned in July. But for now, Tony, do you think that we could wake up Lois and see if maybe she could give us a countdown here for Impact from June 4th, 2004?
It depends on how much Percocet she's got in her right now.
Oh, it's still that bad.
Yeah, she's weaning herself off of it, though. It's been about 3 weeks or so, and she's getting a lot better. So let's...
Well, you know what? Before we get going, we should mention, if you missed it, Lois broke her arm. You guys were on a bike path. She was... You've really gotten into it. You were trying to get her into it, or she wanted to get into it, rather. So you guys went for a joint ride, and you knew it was going to have to be shorter than what you had been doing because you had been after it for a little while, and this was her first voyage. Well, it was cut short artificially. She had a fall, wound up breaking her arm, and we feel terrible about that. So terrible that over at LoisRules.com, there's a new shirt. Instead of "I broke Wahoo's leg," I broke Lois's arm.
Right.
And there's an outline of a bicycle, and I'm hoping that you'll be wearing this very, very soon, Tony.
I'm going to be wearing it, and her cousins who just left are getting some too, because they love it too. And as a matter of fact, all the kids in the family, and Lois kind of rolls her eyes at it. And then I say, hey, listen to me, bitch. Not many people have t-shirts with their name on it.
I love that you never get serious with Lois unless it's you defending the t-shirts. God damn it. You know how cool this is? We even include you.
Hey, do you remember the wedding reception? You remember that? What the fuck you think I'm doing upstairs?
I was going to say she doesn't remember mine because y'all didn't come. You remember?
No.
Yeah, of course. Why would you? Well, listen, without further ado, let's see if we can't get her ass up them old rickety stairs and give us a little bit of a countdown.
I'm just going to go over to her here.
Oh, there you go.
Don't want her to get up. Hey. I think she'll be all right. All right, go ahead.
Don't say hey. Ask me nicely.
Please, a countdown, sweetheart.
Don't condescend me just because I have a broken wing. All right, then. Are you ready for this?
Yes.
Okay. Nicely. 3, 2, 1, play.
We're also going to track it.
And now, from Stage 21 at Universal Studios at Universal Orlando Resort, it's total non-stop action wrestling Impact.
What do you think of the open here, Tony?
Very well done.
I mean, you know, for this to be their first crack at TV, it's pretty cool.
I think it's great. I think it's I think if you're in Stamford, Connecticut, looking at this thinking, hey, we got a little competition going on here now.
What do you think of the presentation? 6-sided ring. This is the Impact Zone. You know, it's the soundstage there in Orlando. You are obviously familiar with all the times that WCW did TV there, but this is the first time you're seeing TNA, and the presentation for a startup, this looks pretty cool, does it not?
Yeah, it does. Who came up with the idea of the 6-sided ring? Who takes credit for that? Anybody?
Well, I know the reason that they stuck with it, according to a friend of ours, was a toy deal. And I think that's one of the things they were probably looking at here is how can we get our stuff on the shelves and all that. And I'm sure we'll talk about that Longhorn someday with Jeff Jarrett, but they're looking for something different. And here we see Team Canada. That guy in front right there, Tony, is Petey Williams. So you've probably seen a lot of these flip over pile drivers that people call Canadian destroyers.
Yeah.
Well, this is the reason. He's a part of Team Canada. It's his move. He created it. So it's called a Canadian destroyer. And there's Scott D'Amore, who's now running Impact Plus, is one of the head honchos here for the organization. He actually slid my DMs and thanked me for randomly putting over the app but he has yet to send the payoff that I've been accused of receiving. So Scott, if you're listening and you need my PayPal, now listen, I'm already getting accused of shilling. Might as well just make it authentic. And look, we just saw this guy last week, the Amazing Red.
Yeah, I have a story about Amazing Red. You and I talked about him last week, and you mentioned Private Party. So when we had our little beach party down in down in Jacksonville, and I was hanging out with Mark Quinn, who is they're Mark Quinn and Isaiah Shill, really two of the
nice guys.
Oh, two of the best. So I told him, I said, man, Amazing Red, I heard that he helped train you and that you know him. And he went, yeah, let's call him right now. So we got on the phone, and of course he didn't pick up, but I wanted to talk to him. I was going to ask him why he's not still in the business, or how come he's kind of like, I guess maybe on maybe on a international level, he's still known, but I'm not so sure.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely focused more on training, and I think very recently decided he was gonna maybe look at doing something else, but I think he's sort of in and out. There's Hector Garza, who recently passed away, by the way, going over the top, former WCW talent. That's him with the mustache there.
Yeah. I remember Hector Garza looking a lot different.
There's Sanjay Dutt, the guy swinging away there. He is now a producer with WWE, but he was a young high flyer here, and people had really high hopes for him. He was one of my favorite to watch live because of shit like that, man.
Yeah. Give me a time code here. I think we're off.
We might be a little bit. I'm at 3:57, 58, 59, 4 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. You're way ahead of me. But I've caught up now, I think.
Well, there's Eric Young, getting thrown into the ropes there, and you could see he was a little out of sorts. The positioning was off just a little bit. Watch what Red's going to do here. Well, I thought he was going to do the little flippity doo-dah I used to do, but I'm sure it takes some getting used to. Like, imagine, I feel like Arn Anderson, when he was a little boy, like his playpen was a goddamn wrestling ring, 'cause he just feels like he's just at home in that thing. But then you see this 6-sided ring, and I feel like Arn Anderson will be looking around like, what the fuck do I do here? 'Cause on some level, we've talked about this before, he and I, it just becomes second nature. It becomes muscle memory. It's just what you do. Oh, I'm running the ropes. It's 6 steps or whatever it is. You might not know it's 6 steps, but you just know in your head it's this far.
Yeah.
Sort of like if, you're in the middle of the night and going to use the restroom, the route to your toilet.
Mm.
But
yes.
if all of a sudden you wake up somewhere else, well, now you got to think about it.
And or just piss your pants.
And I think the 6-sided ring was also a lot stiffer. There's gotta be more reinforcement. I mean, look, as they're falling on it, this thing is not bouncing around at all.
Right.
It's not a quote unquote Southern bumping ring.
No. You know what else I quickly noticed? Something that Vince would look at this and go, psh, and he'd be right.
Oh, I didn't know exactly what you're going to talk about. The single fan standing around the guardrail.
No, everybody wearing red.
Oh yeah.
It's like, if you don't know who's who, you don't know who's on what team.
'Cause you can't even explain to someone, oh, the guy in the red.
Right.
Well, Team Canada
they're doing some pretty
red.
good acrobatic shit. And you know what I really like?
What's that?
I like the kind of the crawl at the bottom of the screen.
Well, here's the thing. You got to remember, this aired on Fox Sportsnet. So at the bottom, when this originally aired, it was talking about, the Orioles are doing this and the Braves are doing that. And
right.
Yeah. So you had like a real crawl at the bottom giving you box scores, because this is also worth mentioning. This is not in prime time. This is on like a Friday afternoon. I don't remember exactly, but I think it's like a Friday afternoon at like 3 in the afternoon or something.
Right. Well, you take whatever clearance you can get.
That's exactly right. You're on TV. It's a time when, it didn't feel like that was going to be possible. And now it's happening. You take what you can get. Yeah. It turns out it was Friday. It was a good guess by me. It's Friday afternoon. But I like that there's even a clock at the top. It has a real sports feel by comparison. If you're playing baseball or basketball or whatever, there's a timer, and we at home can sort of keep up with where we are. That might actually be something good for you to text Tony Khan about. That, hey, what if we put a clock or a counter?
Yeah, let me write that down.
You know, the idea being it's a 10-minute time limit. Not here's how long the match has gone. Here's how much time remains.
Right.
Because fuck, that's what they would do in any other sport, right?
Sure they would.
And now, by the way, the guy who just did the suplex, that's Bobby Roode, who you've seen on WWE programming.
Wow. Yeah, that is. Those funky. And there's a fat Jim Cornette at ringside.
One of your AEW photographers, Lee South, he's here at ringside somewhere.
Really?
Snapping all the, he was there. Yeah. He was their photographer.
Yeah, Lee's our photographer too, basically.
He's from Huntsville, by the way. He's right up the road from me. I don't know if you knew that.
Really?
I think he's from Ardmore.
I can't wait to see him again.
He's from like Ardmore or Elkmont or something like that, but he's from North Alabama.
Amazing. Red. That kid was something else, buddy. God, he was something else.
Well, Petey Williams was thought, I mean, don't get me wrong. At this point, Amazing Red is one of the most prolific high flyers and innovative wrestlers. But at this very moment in 2004, because Amazing Red had that rep for probably 2 or 3 years at this point on the national stage. But at this point in 2004, it's all about that goddamn Canadian Destroyer because it is the hottest move in wrestling.
Right.
And it was definitely a finish. And now,
it's a high spot.
Like with everything else, it's a transition spot.
See, you know, this is something, and I was talking to Private Party about this. Who's the kid in the gold? What's his name?
Sanjay Dutt.
Okay. He comes off with this great Huracan. There you go. There's the Destroyer.
No, that didn't hit.
That's not it? Was that the code red?
There it is. 8 minutes, 58 seconds, 59, 9 minutes. Hector Garza coming in to get him some.
Anyway, the kid in the gold, he hits this great Huracan Rana, and then he mugs to the camera. And I was telling some of the kids, I said, you know, some of the stuff you do are spectacular, but if it's so great, don't look at the camera and go, yeah, baby. So try to win the fucking match with it.
Right.
That's just old school Tony, who's been taking a lot of trips with JR lately. Wow, look at that, man.
Hector Garza, famous for this right here, boy.
Mm-hmm. Wow, what a moonsault.
And the fans go wild. Team Canada goes down. I do think it's kind of cool that, you know, Eric Young, who I think was recently released by WWE, he was sort of Mr. TNA for a long time. And of course, Scott D'Amore was their manager as part of Team Canada. And we know what a big deal Petey Williams and certainly Bobby Roode are going to be, for this organization. And to note that, man, they were out here first. That's pretty cool. And here we are, the voices of Impact, Mike Tenay and, our old pal, Don West.
Every time I look at Don, I just smile.
How can you not?
I know.
I'd really wish that, I got to work with Don West more.
Yeah. But who's the old fucker on his left? Oh, that's Tenay. Sorry.
You know that Tenay is like, the porn king, right?
No, I didn't know that. But he's kind of like, he's doing now what I did years ago. He's walked away from the business.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Now, by the way, the first TNA show, look at that.
God,
got Toby Keith out here at a concert in Huntsville, and Jeff Jarrett ain't having it. So cool, man. This happened right up the road for me. I was at this show.
And Toby's going to get in the ring to wrestle?
Or he's going to do a vertical suplex on Jeff Jarrett. Are you ready for this?
Oh my, no. There's Scott Hall.
Yeah,
okay.
That's the wall in the background, by the way. He's not wearing the wall outfit, but that's him.
Yes.
How about that?
I ain't as good as I once was.
Isn't that great?
But I'm as good once as I ever was.
How about Brian Urlacher here with Johnny Fairplay? That little weasel.
Fucking Johnny Fairplay. Kick his ass. Survive this.
But, you know, but I thought it was pretty cool that on the heels of, you know, that high flying, fast paced opener that we got, a 6-man inside a 6-sided ring, I'm sure the thinking is we're going to be introducing our product to a whole new audience. Let's put something out there fast and spectacular and, the 6-sided ring. But then let's also give a little credibility when people are like, well, who is this company? What is this? So we can lend a little bit of sort of mainstream. Let's show Brian Urlacher. Let's show, oh, here's your man, Shark Boy. Are you in the loop on Shark Boy?
God's sake, no.
Here we are. I think you're
maybe for some reason I do feel like we've talked about him before.
I think you're going to love him.
Really?
Yes.
Great homemade mask.
Well, here's the gimmick.
It's a shark. That's the gimmick.
Well, we need somebody to make Abyss look great.
Okay.
And then, so yeah, come on, Shark Boy. And by the way, I absolutely love the presentation of early Abyss. You know, when he first showed up in TNA, he wasn't sporting this mask. He was trying to do whatever he was on the indies, some sort of justice or something like that. But this is a character that I would have liked to have seen have a run in WWE.
Really?
Yeah. Something with Foley, something with Kane, something with Undertaker. But
isn't he kind of a lot like Kane in many ways with the mask and everything and Foley?
Yeah, certainly well, I think that's the reason I'd like to see it.
Oh, okay. Sure. I get it.
Sort of like how, back when you were booking WCW, you put Vampiro and Sting together.
Yes.
Well, goddamn, they're both black and white and wearing face paint. Well, I would do a Human Torch match. Let's set one of them motherfuckers on fire. How about that? What if we did? Hey, and then we could make David Arquette world champ. What about that?
Yeah. And who's the girl in the bottom left over here?
I don't know. I was mocking you. I had my head turned.
Okay.
Look, I don't know if you saw, but Shark Boy hit that canvas and was immediately reminded, oh, this is not a regular wrestling ring. That hurt.
Yes. Man. Do they still do 6-sided?
They've went back and forth on it several times, but no, they're using 4 sides now.
Yeah, that's good. Whoa. Fuck.
You don't like the 6-sided ring?
No, not at all.
Why?
I think it's unsafe for the boys. But I like this referee. It's our buddy Andrew. Works in the truck. AEW. He's the man. Organized, quality guy.
Black Hole Slam. Andrew's been counting to 3 in the state of Florida for a long time.
Oh God, here we are. What the flying fuck?
Track it.
At the Islands of Adventure at Universal Orlando Resort. Up next, the NWA tag titles are at stake.
So yeah, there you go. That's
I get it.
America's Most Wanted, Chris Harris, and your old pal James Storm. Mm-hmm. And look who's coming out with Kid Cash. We remember Kid Cash from ECW. Do you remember him?
Yes.
Well, his tag team partner here is Lance Hoyt, who you've heard of as Lance Archer.
Yes. Wow. I can't wait to see this. Also, we were watching the show the other night, the show that I was on, and there was a video of Christopher Daniels, right? And
yes.
SEX.
Yes.
So I look at that and I'm thinking, I might, I better just read about Christopher Daniels' career. I know he's been around quite a while.
Oh man, I got some great shit to show you, son.
So I read about his,
tryout on Nitro.
Yes.
You had no idea, did you?
I had no, and I talked to him at the party. I said, Chris, I need to talk to you. He said, yeah. I said, you were in WCW? He said, well, kind of. He told me that story. I said, I didn't even fucking know it was you.
AJ Styles was there too, right?
Oh yeah. AJ, I do know.
Yeah. Well, Daniels had, and by the way, look at this presentation. It's like, the TNA version of, Shawn Michaels and, Diesel here.
Yeah.
big guy, little guy who does spectacular stuff. How about over the years, how much, Lance has changed his look, huh?
Something else, man. Yeah, I'm going to shill for AEW, but he can still go, man.
Oh no, I think he's hitting his stride. He's at his best right now. I mean, what we're seeing right now, even with his presentation, this looks like, a dark-haired Test from WWE. No one is confusing him with anyone else right now these days.
Right. And no one's confusing him with anybody else in the ring. He is so much bigger than anybody else, height-wise and everything.
I hope we're not betraying confidences here, but is there a nicer guy than Lance in real life?
There's not. There is not. And there's not a more outgoing, appreciative of his where he is in life right now than Lance.
James Storm with no beard, so babyface. It's just weird to look at.
He doesn't even look. He looks nothing like James Storm today.
It looks like James Storm's cousin.
That's right.
That guy could be related to James Storm. Well, that is James Storm.
No, really? Son of a bitch.
How about Kid Cash? Even though it's a TV taping, still talking shit to the fans, riling them up like it was a spot show, getting his heat. But this is a way, and I know sometimes, people who've worked in sort of TV wrestling, they get critical of this crowd play and they say, oh, that's house show bullshit. You don't do that on TV. Well, they say that in WWE because the commentators are trying to convey if you're a good guy or a bad guy and all that. And I'm sure TNA is trying to do that right now with Don West, but this is the first time a lot of people are seeing these wrestlers. So we need to understand, hey, who's a good guy and who's a bad guy? Like, who do we pull for and who do we cheer against?
Right.
So if you've got a few minutes where one of the performers is getting into it with all the fans, we can pretty much surmise he's not the good guy.
What I'm digging about all this stuff is like, watching Lance here wrestle. I know he's not in yet, but guys that I now work with, seeing them in their earlier days and just enjoying it, man.
And we're getting to show you some pretty monumental stuff. I mean, one day people will go back and they'll say, this was the first ever Dynamite. That was 8 months ago now, but the point is it's kind of cool to see how things evolve and grow and to go back and look at, cause the referee here now, Rudy Charles is his TNA name. He works for WWE. I think Kid Cash is retired. I think we know what happened with Chris Harris, but James Storm's been everywhere, done everything. You now work with Lance Archer. It's just fun to see what happened on their first show and know that unlike so many other promotions, somehow, some way, Impact became the little engine that could, man. And they're still around.
And good for them.
Yeah. Listen, this is, I know that a lot of, wrestling fans, really dig the business side of the business where we're breaking down facts and figures. And I certainly do. We talk about it on almost all my other shows, but, the most important thing is, can your business survive? And their business has survived more than Smoky Mountain, more than ECW, more than WCW. It's pretty remarkable when you think about it in those terms.
And there's a lot of fans out there, you and I have discussed this before, a lot of people out there online who take sides.
Right.
And feel that if they like the WWE, they need to bury AEW or bury Impact. And
that's just stupid.
Yeah. That's like, that goes into the category of #go fuck yourself, get a real job.
I want to tell you though, I've got a couple of Christopher Daniels matches we're going to have to watch together. There was a big one from like 2005, which was AJ Styles, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels in a 3-way. And I think Meltzer gave it 5 stars, but people were saying it was the match of the year.
Oh, good.
And, there's another spot, cause I think I think we've talked about this before, but Elix Skipper tagged with Christopher Daniels and they called themselves Triple X, I think. And they had a 6-sided cage here in Orlando. And Elix Skipper walked the top of the cage and then did a Hurricane Rana off the top of the cage into it. But imagine You know how the Undertaker would like walk the top rope and hold somebody's hand to steady him?
Yep.
Well, Elix Skipper walked the top of the cage and nobody was there to hold his hand because it's, 30 feet in the air. But just some really remarkable stuff that Christopher Daniels was, there for. What in the world? I've never seen that before. I mean, I saw this when it happened live, but I don't remember seeing that spot. Have you ever seen that?
No.
A moonsault off a guy's shoulders on the top rope?
The guy happens to be like 6'7". I know he was sitting down, but still.
Yeah, but he's sitting down on the top rope. And here comes the hot tag. Chris Harris, who they thought was going to be their big star. I wonder what would have happened if Harris wouldn't have went for greener pastures and just hung out here in Impact instead.
Who knows? A lot of those what ifs in wrestling, right?
So many. That was well done, that crossbody right there.
Sure was. 1, 2. You can really tell it's Lance, the tattoo on his lower back.
What do you call that over in Georgia?
Tattoo on the lower back.
Okay. Cool. I didn't know if there was another term for that.
Well, I've heard tramp stamp.
Are you saying that Lance has a
No,
tramp
I'm not.
stamp?
See, I knew you were going to say that.
Oh,
But
I cannot believe you would disrespect the great Lance Archer. You're dead. The Murder Hawk's coming for you, buddy.
Not. I'm his buddy.
How about that move?
Oh, wow.
Oh, shit. That was a spear and a half.
These kids are bumping, man.
Dude, they're all over it.
Pretty good foot, too.
Oh, man. They're pulling out all the stops here. This is great shit. But I got to tell you, I do love the fucking counter in the top. There you see it. America's Most Wanted picks up the win. I guess this is really the era where that became a thing. Oh, we get a little firework display. How about that? Oh, we got new tag champs. Duh.
Oh, laser lights.
Fucking buried the lead, man. We got new tag champs. Can you believe it?
Got to switch the titles on your first show.
Yeah. I mean, you need a big moment. And I think they've done a good job of that, where we've established that Abyss is a monster. We had some high flying action. We showed some celebrity stuff. And then we saw a really great tag match between two very capable teams. And then after all these crazy flips and high spots and flippity doos, goddamn Schoolboy gets you every time.
How about that?
But it tells a cool story of, you just caught him off guard.
Yeah.
He didn't
Telling
really
the cool story. How about that? Isn't it great?
Let's track it.
To render the decision in the case of a draw. Wait until you see who the judge is this week.
You gonna guess whose boots those were?
Dusty Rhodes.
How'd you know?
Because the pants is sagging.
And the type of boots. Come on.
No, it's his pants sagging.
So I could be Michael Hayes.
Hey. Boy, Mike's makeup looks great, buddy.
Mike is tan as a motherfucker.
Ah, he really is.
And there he is, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
Oh.
Dude,
man.
How cool is this?
This is fucking cool, buddy.
It's weird that he was outside of the WWE family for so long.
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to Cody about that?
About him being outside the WWE family?
About just the way WWE at different times, their relationship with Dusty.
I have not.
You should pick his brain about that sometime.
One thing I did talk to Cody about was I had never seen Goldust and Stardust together.
Oh yeah.
And I finally saw, I didn't even know that. I didn't know that Cody was this character. And I said to, we want to track this?
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go.
Impact heard around the world. Impact heard in over 4,800 million countries around the world. It is a major impact. And the impact is tradition lives at TNA.
Let's talk about tradition, Dusty. Let's talk about the 50 plus years of history behind the gold, behind the NW World's Heavyweight Championship belt that you know oh so well.
When you talk about NWA history, you talk about the tradition of Luthiers. You talk about the Nature Boy, Buddy Rogers. You talk about Jack Briscoe, Harley Race, Terry Funk, The Truth, AJ Styles, and you talk about the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. That's tradition. That's what we all about at TNA.
Dusty, let's talk about this past Wednesday, the TNA pay-per-view, the historic first ever King of the Mountain, and it was Jeff Jarrett who became the NWA World's Heavyweight Champion once again.
You know, for a long time, I really believed that Jeff Jarrett was a brother in tradition. He was a brother in the old school ways of representing, respecting, holding to high esteem the NWA World Heavyweight title. But after a while, then he changed his spots, I think, for the almighty dollar. You know what I'm talking about?
What you talking about, sir?
So the bottom line with this situation is, he is.
Well, what? Now what?
All right, you get the idea. Out comes Jeff Jarrett. What do you think of the tunnel, by the way? Does that look familiar?
It kind of looks like the tunnel we have now.
I like the idea of guys coming out of a tunnel, though.
Yeah, I do too. Boy, I didn't realize this, and I'm not going to expand on it, but I guess I should have realized it, knowing what had happened. But there's some pretty good heat between Jeff Jarrett and JR.
Are you surprised?
I guess I'm naive to it.
I mean, he held him up for money, right?
Yeah. And see, I didn't know that. But I think it's well known, and it's sincere that I try to get along with everybody.
You do get along with everybody. You're like me in that regard.
Yeah. And so I always got along with Jeff Jarrett, and I didn't know there was that side of Jeff Jarrett. And I love JR. He and I are just, closer now than we've ever been. And so it just, I don't know, it's weird.
He will pop off randomly every now and again, won't he?
Yeah, buddy.
When y'all were on your way back, in between filming, you guys made a call to me. And if that would have made the tape, that would have had the internet abuzz. Just, JR, when he's in the right mood, that's promo city, baby.
Yeah. Well, you know what? That did make the tape, but it won't make air. Because here's the deal. I get in the car, and I've got a system now, right? I get in the car and I start the tapings.
Well, see, when y'all called, he said, no, we're going to tape some stuff in a little bit. Okay. He probably didn't realize, we've been rolling this whole time.
No, he didn't, because after you hung up, he said, you've been taping the whole time. I went, yeah, since we got in the car. But here's the thing about it is, it was early morning. We got in the car, it was like 6:45.
Y'all were quiet.
Yeah, there wasn't much said. So I got a point to where I'm going to pick it up, and I'm not going to even send it off to our buddy, Chris McDonald. I'm going to go send the parts. In other words, the shit that was said during that phone call.
Some of this shit I know. Cause we were both.
It's not going to leave my house. Okay.
Yeah. Me included.
Yeah, exactly.
He asked me what I thought of something, and I told him.
I know. And he was saying some things when he first woke up, and it wasn't about anybody that is important in our lives.
It's not wrestling related, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking, fuck, I know. Wow. I ain't going with that.
JR, by the way, should have his own reality show.
Of course he should.
I mean, it would only last 6 weeks before they had to throw him off the air, but it would be the highest rated 6 weeks in the history of television.
And I got to stay with JR and Ralph at the beach house for one night.
By the way, we should mention Raphael Morphy. I think it was Frankie Kazarian who said he was one of the unsung heroes of AEW. I couldn't agree more.
He's AEW's MVP, and I tell him that all the time, and he just shrugs it off. But he is. If I'm going to start a wrestling promotion,
he's one of your first 10 hires. Yeah,
that's right.
How about Dusty Rhodes? in 2004 here, getting it on with Jeff Jarrett.
Look at that can of Skull in his back pocket.
How do you know it was Skull?
Or Copenhagen. I think he dipped Skull. You know, there used to be Skull, Copenhagen, and Happy Days. But they got rid of Happy Days.
I think Cody here is only like 19 years old when this show's happening.
Who the fuck was that missed? Is that R-Truth?
Yeah.
I think it was pretty good fucking bumps.
Okay.
And get ready to take a guitar.
I can't wait until we have a chance to do it. Look at there, former road dog, and there's Conan.
Stars coming out tonight.
How about the 10 pounds of gold here still being used? You got to like that piece of tradition.
Oh yeah.
I got to tell you though, the in-ring promo thing feels a little WWE-esque. I mean, I know that WCW was doing it and all that, but so far they had won me over with match. And I know we've got to tell a little bit of a story here, but I don't know. I was enjoying all the matches we were watching.
And the good news is they didn't do this at the beginning of the show.
Right. No, then it would have definitely felt too WWE-esque. By the way, how smart is Conan? Let's make sure these fans in Orlando know I'm a good guy. I'm going to wear an Orlando Magic jersey. And look at there, Vince Russo. We've already got an authority figure, the director of authority.
Ooh, Vince Russo. Is there any more lightning bolt of a figure than Vince Russo? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, he is a lightning rod of controversy.
Lightning rod, thank you.
I think, yes, the answer these days is Jim Cornette. I think Jim Cornette has taken the top spot as the most controversial person in wrestling. He would disagree with that. Right. But I mean, seriously, anytime Cornette says something, it goes viral. Yep. And that's not always the case with Vince. I think Vince, I don't know. It feels like he's trying to play a little more low key these days.
Hey, so I just saw Scott Hudson. Were they using Scott back then?
You know, I don't know how often he appeared, but it was occasional. I mean, every now and again. Look at Elix Skipper. Now imagine him doing that on the top of a cage.
Wow. Yeah, I just saw Hudson. I thought, wow, man, Scott. Well, Scott, because Scott had a real job, important job.
We're trying to explain the X division, which is something that they have really struggled with identifying exactly what it is. And, that always annoyed, look at a young Frankie Kazarian. That always annoyed Eric Bischoff because he wants a definition. Like, is it a weight class? How about Shane Douglas here?
This is total nonstop guys you remember.
Yeah.
Dusty, Conan, Jeff Jarrett, Vince Russo.
What's Russo saying here?
Well, here's the deal. Okay. You may think I talk like I'm from New York, and I do, but there's going to be a guy named Taz who eventually is going to be on AEW. Now he saw him on ECW. No one talks New York like Taz. I got to go.
All right. So that is Chris Sabin, who's going to go on to have a ton of success here. He'll even be the world champion. That is Michael Shane, the cousin of Shawn Michaels.
Okay. I see that.
He was a big piece of, early TNA, early Impact. By the way, I absolutely love the camera shot where it's sort of mounted to the top of the tunnel as they walk out. There's a very young AJ Styles.
Phenomenal one.
He was the first X Division champion. He's probably one of the more popular wrestlers in the company. And I believe this is our main event.
We're there already? Man.
We're there already. It's an action-packed hour, my friend.
Wow, it is. See?
And the referee here, you're going to know, this is Mike Posey, who you know from AEW.
Sure.
So Elix Skipper, AJ Styles, Michael Shane, and Chris Sabin.
I have so much respect for guys who have beat it up on the road, be it a referee or just guys who have, who've been around and have hit the independent circuit. Now, obviously you can't consider Impact independent circuit, but there are guys who have been here, Ring of Honor, New Japan.
Love of the game, baby.
That's right. That's right. I just have, and that's why it excites me sincerely as a shoot. It excites me to try to put these kids over because, most of them say, oh God, Tony Schiavone calling one of my matches is just wonderful. And I appreciate that. And I hope that I can help enhance their careers. So it gives me a thrill to see somebody like Lance Archer come in here, or give you another example. Sit down interview with the FTR or the Revival, right?
Yep.
I'm genuinely thrilled about that when I sat down and did the interview with them, because I know how good those kids are. And so in other words, there's a part of me that marks out for them as well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And man, the Revival, and I can say Revival here.
Do you realize that you're only like 35 minutes from that Applebee's where Elix Skipper works? Next time I come over, can we make a run? And
yes, you need to text me that address. Maybe I'll get a free appetizer.
Douglasville, Georgia.
Okay.
But my point is, I want to enjoy endless appetizers while you try to convince Elix Skipper that he should come walk the cage for AEW.
That's to me, that's the most, I'm glad. I hope he's in this, this pandemic we have. I hope he still has a job, but
he's the fucking manager. Of course he does.
Well, that doesn't mean shit.
He let some other people go, but he's still there. What's your favorite thing at Applebee's?
They used to have Weight Watchers appetizers.
Fuck off, Tony. Jesus.
What are the little rib appetizers called? Riblets?
Yes.
They were good.
They were known for, I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
Yeah. You could eat a lot of those.
I've never had one there.
Oh, baby back is Chili's.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, they do have ribs. Like
you
can get double glazed baby back ribs. Now my move is to just sit at the bar and drink. I don't know that I've ever had anything in Applebee's I'm a big fan of, which is weird for a fat guy, but it's not my go-to.
No, it's not my go-to either. And we used to have one very close to the house, and we didn't go to that much.
As a rule of thumb, if they sell mozzarella sticks, it's probably not the best restaurant in town.
Oh, okay.
But they also have corn dogs. I don't know if you're in the loop on that.
No, just like a state fair, huh?
I know you know a girl who loves a good corn dog.
Okay.
Oh, I'm looking at the menu here. They have something called a quesadilla burger. Would you eat that?
No.
Me neither. Quesadilla burger. Have we talked about Michael Shane before?
No, we've not. That I remember.
He eventually changed his name, I think, to Matt Bentley or something like that, which may be his real name. But he was certainly trying to play off of Shawn Michaels being his cousin with a name like Michael Shane.
Right.
I'm surprised he didn't. I mean, because he was such a big part of Impact here. I'm surprised he didn't last a little longer in Impact. Politics.
You guys are tearing it up too here, man.
Dude. Huge.
Are the winner of this going to become the X champion or whatever it is? Or the V champion, the W champion? Do you know?
I'm sorry, say again.
The winner of this match going to become a champion?
No. Frankie Kazarian's the world champion. I think they're just trying to see who's going to get like the number one contender spot.
Okay.
For Frankie's belt. So here you go. You're going to see Elix Skipper with his trademark spot here. To the floor, my man.
Jesus. Put their bodies at risk. Man, you're watching why AJ Styles is one of the great ones.
Absolutely.
Just the kid can work. Everything he does looks good.
Really remarkable stuff here.
Yeah.
By the way, we should start to let everybody know that we penciled in our big low-key big hog get together for Huntsville.
Yep.
When all this pandemic stuff started, and it's looking more and more likely that travel is going to be readily available and things are, for the most part, getting back to normal here in Huntsville, Alabama. What's your gut feeling on when we'll proceed with the low-key big hog get together?
Well, we got it scheduled for the end of July. That may be, well, I put it this way. I think we're going to have it before,
I'm listening.
I think we're going to have it before the summer's over.
I still think July could happen though.
Okay.
And there you see Frankie Kazarian strutting down the ramp.
Look at Frankie with hair.
A lot of hair, my friend. So there you go. There's your first edition of Impact on broadcast TV or network, not broadcast, but cable TV, Fox Sports Net. Uh-oh. What's going on? Guess we're just setting up the match, but all that smoke started coming out. I'm like, something happened here. I forgot, but there it is. Beautiful X Division title, which is in the hands of a private collector these days. And that's going to bring it to an end, man. So what do you think, man? Your first time seeing an Impact TV show. It was the very first one. What'd you think?
I really like this a lot, but only for many reasons. I thought the work rate was great. I like seeing Dusty come out, Shane Douglas being there, Jeff Jarrett, guys that you knew. I like seeing guys who I work with now, like Kazarian, and I work with AJ and, Mike Posey. I just, I'm enjoying this stuff. I'm enjoying going back and seeing guys. And now, when next time we all get together, I'm going to go right up to Kazarian and I will say, man, you used to have hair, buddy. And he and I will talk about the days in Impact and he'll fill me in on some things. And it just, boy, I miss so much.
The thing that really jumps out to me, I'm curious your take on, man, that hour flew by.
Mm-hmm.
It left me wanting more.
Mm-hmm.
And I think sometimes after a 3-hour Raw or a 2-hour SmackDown or on a rare occasion, a 2-hour Dynamite, you're like, okay, time to go to bed.
Right.
It's just, it's a more exhaustive experience. And that's not always because the shows are quote unquote bad, but with this one, I'm like, man, how about another match or two?
Yeah. That's because 2 hours sometimes is too much. 3 hours definitely is too much.
Right.
So I get it. When you have a 1 hour packed edition, like we have right here, you want to see more. You think it's just too much. And of course we were seeing it without commercials and it came out to about 45 minutes of action.
Yeah.
So, I get all that, but it's worth the look. And, chat me up about some of the timelines here. I know that we're looking at June of 2004. Eventually, Bischoff's going to show up. Hogan's going to show up. The Hardys are going to be here. Sting's going to be here. Well, when did all this start to happen? I mean, when did Hogan show up? Do you know what year off the top of your head?
2010.
So many years removed from this. 6 years removed from this.
When they would tease it beforehand, but it would be, don't get me wrong. Some of the like Kurt Angle came over in like 07, I think. But yeah, I mean, they've got a lot of really big years ahead of them. Because at this point they're sort of on what any time slot we could get. They would eventually move to prime time and even briefly compete with Monday Night Raw. But I mean, they had a prime time show on Spike, which is a big station, the former channel that had Raw. So
yeah,
either way, it's been fun to watch, the very first Impact with you. And I'm looking forward to next week, because you'd remind everybody what we got coming up. We're going to be back doing what we do best, and that's watching Nitro next week. It'll be the June 9th, 1997. I love me some 1997.
Oh,
now,
good.
I know what you're thinking. Well, what was so special about this one? In 97, of course, we saw Sting rappel down from the top a lot, and that became sort of his signature thing. But on this particular show, on the 9th of June, he not only comes down to do that, but he does it to make the save for Diamond Dallas Page. And then he hooks DDP's corpse up and then takes it up to the rafters with him. It's the first time and only time that we saw that. So we'll watch that one next week. And then the following week, we have got a little more 1997. We're going to watch 2 episodes of ECW's Hardcore TV back to back, both June 10th and June 17th from 1997, where they're recapping one of the more important shows from ECW that year. It was WrestlePalooza, but it wasn't a pay-per-view, but it was a tremendous show. It's the swan song for Raven in ECW, and they really kick off this WWF angle in a major way. And then we'll wrap up the month of June on the 24th when we show Great American Bash 2000, which coincidentally does have the Human Torch match that I made fun of earlier with Vampiro and Sting. That's coming up at the end of the month. But our little bonus episode that we're going to do over at adfreeshows.com in the month of June is Victory Road 2011. This is a pretty controversial episode, because on this particular show, Jeff Hardy was in no condition to perform, and they didn't know that until he got to the ring, and Eric Bischoff had to walk to the ring and call an audible, and we get to see it unfold. And the reason this is coming up now is because just this past Friday, WWE did a rather controversial angle where they made his real life substance issues an on-screen situation. So we'll revisit all of that in June. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hope you'll join us over at adfreeshows.com or patreon.com/WHW Monday, where don't forget, we've still got that big get together, that we're still planning on doing. And I do want to mention too, that the really fun thing we did for a bonus show this past weekend over at adfreeshows.com is you and I covered that basketball game that just went viral for the first time between the stars of the NWA in 1988, when they did a charity basketball game against the Charlotte Police Department. That was a lot of fun. That's up at adfreeshows.com. That's also where you can catch that series we were sort of teasing earlier with Jim Ross and Tony Schiavone on the road. And Tony, we've got a bunch of fun t-shirts besides just the new one, which shows the I broke Lois's arm. We've also got 2 that I know you're going to enjoy. The Crash Test Tony. We've got Worst Wheelman in the History of the Business, and Schiavone Body Shop, where who you call when you hit a wall. Those are all available now at lowestrules.com. I have a friend at the office, that I do some work with, not technically an employee, but they're on the peripheral of my real business. And I showed them the hashtag MINLF, and they got it right away. So Mother, I no longer, you know the rest. Check it out. lowestrules.com. Tony, we've done all our shilling. We've done all our teasing. I feel like it's about that time.
It is about that time. In the ring now, doing an interview with Mike today is the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes and Conrad Thompson. And now the smoke is billowing out of the tunnel. And here comes Elix Skipper with a plate of riblets. And he also has a plate of mozzarella sticks. He's coming to the ring. And now a fight breaks out between Dusty Rhodes and Conrad. Who's going to get the riblets? Who's going to get the mozzarella sticks? We don't know, but we're desperately out of time. The tape machines are rolling. We'll see you next week on What Happened When. Don't forget, we are only on Westwood 1. And Mondays, we're on with our great friends and our great fans only on
Patron. Join us at patreon.com/WHW Monday and hope to see you in Huntsville later this summer. Hey, it's Conrad Thompson. Thanks for checking out the podcast here on YouTube. Be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notifications bell so you get a notice anytime we upload some new content. And go save yourself some money right now. If you're in a 30-year loan or you have credit card debt, it's not a matter of if I can save you money. It's a matter of how much. Find out right now for free at SaveWithConrad.com.